Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and blasttheradio.com, this is The Lowell Green Show. The number to call and be heard around the world is 613-413-2217. Or email Lowell at blasttheradio.com. And now, here is Lowell Green.
John, beautiful day out there. Holy smokies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, water running off the roof. You always know it's a good day when the water is running off our roof. And I guess the temperature must be near, for the first day of winter, it must be near freezing, I guess. Obviously, if it's melting. Oh boy, here we go again. Anti-vaxxers have prevented Premier Doug Ford and his family from entering their own home during the weekend and apparently again yesterday. It's unclear whether the protesters outside the Ford home are still there. I can't seem to find out. But apparently they showed up on Sunday. The Fords were out. They tried to get back into their home on Sunday. They couldn't do it. The protesters were all there, blocking their entrance, etc., etc. And then again, when they tried to get back into their home yesterday, lo and behold, the protesters were back again, prevented the family from entering their home. I mean, what's the matter with you anti-vaxxers anyway? Holy suffering doodle cats. This is not the first time, by the way, that the protesters have showed up at Doug Ford's home. I mean, love him or hate him, the guy's only doing his job, for God's sake. And, you know, small wonder with this kind of thing that's going on, small wonder it's getting more and more difficult to find good people willing to run for public office. And we had an incident out on the West Coast. A female MLA, Brittany Anderson, says that she and her staff felt very threatened when they were verbally assaulted and physically threatened, actually, at a remote rest stop someplace in BC. I'm not quite sure where, but they were apparently out for a drive. She and her staff are going to a meeting someplace. They stopped for at one of these rest stops on the highway, and there were a group of anti-vaxxers there, and they started to threaten and harass them. And the RCMP, by the way, are investigating that. So it just begs the question. I mean, what's wrong with these people? You know, it's one thing you don't want to get vaccinated yourself. Okay, if you're foolish enough and you're prepared to risk your life and the life of others, okay. You have to pay the consequences. But I mean, to go out and assault and protest people who are doing their job, I mean, let's remember, it's the anti-vaxxers. Remember, not that long ago, they were picketing hospitals, trying to prevent people from getting into the hospital, for God's sake, for goodness knows what kind of treatment. In some cases, they picketed doctors' homes, nurses' homes. Some of the nurses and hospital workers felt very, very threatened. What's the matter with you anti-vaxxers anyway? If you don't want to get vaccinated, okay, be stupid, you know? But to carry on like that, I'm not suggesting that all anti-vaxxers do this, by no stretch. But very clearly, and I've said this before, and both you and I, John, we've experienced plenty of this.
Yep.
You know, you can be sure that after my calling them out today, that there'll be I don't know if there'll be death threats. There have in the past.
They're already on you, Lowell.
Already on me. Well, you know, I mean, I repeat, not all anti-vaxxers are doing these things. But by God, you know,
but this is what kills me. Like, you say anti-vaxxer, and then like anybody who has not had a vaccine thinks you're picking on them.
I am.
No, we're picking. Well, I know you are, but the people that are protesting outside Doug Ford's house, those are militant people. That's who we're really talking about in this case.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a hell of a lot of them, because some of those protests at the hospital involved a lot of people. Okay. And you know, we see them everywhere. As I say, if you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your problem. There's something wrong with your head, but go ahead. That's it. You've got to pay the consequences. Essentially, you can't go anyplace and do anything. All right, okay. But I mean, to carry on like this, and once again, I repeat, not everybody is like this, but very clearly, you know, and I've said this before, there is a mean streak running through the anti-vax movement. Not all anti-vaxxers are mean or miserable. I'm not saying that, but there is a mean streak running through this movement, and it's being borne out. I mean, can you imagine showing up at a politician's home and refusing to allow he and his family from entering their own house? And you imagine there's a female MLA out on the West Coast in a remote, uh, restaurant, rest stop they call it, I guess, and they start assaulting her, verbally assaulting her. I don't think there was any physical. Although Brittany Anderson says they were really worried. They feared for their physical safety. I mean, there's something going on with these people. I don't know what it is. Whether the lack of vaccines has affected their brains, I'm just not sure what it is. And and as far as me showing respect, why should I show respect for these people? Not just the ones that are protesting, but why should I show respect? These people who refusing to be vaccinated are prolonging this. They are giving the COVID more chance to mutate within their bodies. They I could go on and on. I always I've run this example past before, and I'll do it again. If there's someone out on the highway cutting people off, speeding back and forth, driving very dangerously, risking their lives and the lives of others, why would I show them any respect? I feel the same about people not getting vaccinated during the height of the worst pandemic we've seen in 100 years. But anyway, that's I know that the vitriol will fall upon my head again. So what? I couldn't care less. I have no respect for you people whatsoever. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can call me all the names you want. I have no respect for you. You have no respect for other people yourselves. Very clearly, you're willing to risk our lives and the lives of others. Um, on another, if any, what sort of what sort of reaction are we getting here, John? Go ahead.
Basically, where are the police on this? This is over the line. So Kathy says, please stop blaming the unvaccinated. Maybe, just maybe, they are also people who are tired of being put out of work due to lockdowns. We already sort of addressed that. Peter says people shouldn't be protesting his home, protest at his office, call his office, etc. That's appropriate. Kim says protesters should be arrested for trespassing. That is totally unacceptable that people feel they can go to someone's home and harass them. Donald says Doug Ford's oldest daughter has no vaccine shots and her boyfriend's a cop, also without vaccine.
So what? So what? So what? I mean, what? So what? So you're pro. I mean, first of all, we don't even know if that's true. But she obviously a daughter. If she doesn't want to get vaccinated, okay, that's not the issue here. That's what, like, why would they throw that out? Oh well, his daughter's not vaccinated. You know, come on, you folks. Come on. You know what? It would seem to me that people who care enough to watch a talk show would have more common sense than that. Go ahead, John.
Keenan often posts on Facebook, and he had something on his timeline a few minutes ago of another talk show host in the States. I wish I could credit who it was, getting into a conversation with, someone's just staunch refusing to get the vaccine. And he said, if you knew that a person had gonorrhea and syphilis, would you have sex with them without a condom? Well, no. No. Well, then why won't you get the vaccine? Well, my natural immunities. No, your natural immunities won't. And he just shot the guy down. I thought it was a great parallel that he drew. Could any of these anti-vaxxers do a better job than Ford? Asks Lynn. Kim says, show respect for the people that are treating and threatening and harassing and intimidating others. That is an insane expectation. Says
Thank
Kim
you
on Facebook.
Thank you.
Mona says, why are they not thrown in jail? Terry says, are there no jails? Are there no workhouses? Kim says, RCMP need to charge these people. Valda says, I was just wondering the same thing. Not sure what you're referring to there, Valda, but there's your comment nonetheless. I got in trouble for not posting all the comments on the screen, by the way, in a text from someone. Richard says, all these bozos feel that they are entitled. Only they are entitled to is a one-way ticket to their grave. Nina says, according to social media, his daughter's an anti-vaxxer. She's probably leading this group. Lori says, if the vaccinations were mandatory, I would feel safe and maybe no more protesting. Glenn, they have no right to infect me just because they have the right to say no to vaccinations. Get vaxxed or get out of my life. Glenn says that in all caps, so he means it. Chrissy says, agree with Peter. Protest at his home. Just wrong. These protesters, if they could do a better job of running the province, then let's hear what they have to say. Peter says, I think a number of people protesting outside the Premier's house are people who are angry about reduction in stores, upset with all government levels. There's a storm coming to Canada. Canadians are tired of being abused at all levels of government. You see people talking about it on social media all the time. I'm pro-vax and waiting for my booster. And Ann says this is an entitled subculture.
But there's no question that we're tired, sick and tired, frustrated. There's no question about it. I mean, we're now entering our third year of this. It's been a terrible imposition. But I mean, what's the alternative? I mean, I don't know what else we could have done. There's no lockdowns now. There in Quebec there are. And once again, I have to point out that in the province of Ontario, we have the best record of any province. On a per capita basis, we have fewer infections, we have fewer deaths, fewer hospitalizations, and a higher degree, by the way, of vaccination in the province of Ontario. I think that's to credit to our people. There's no question about it. But it's all very well. We're all upset, folks. There's no question about it. But we all don't go out there protesting, in front of people's homes, etc., protesting in front of hospitals. And by the way, as far as showing respect, I haven't been shown very much respect by anti-vaxxers. I mean, you read it all the time. You people, you're all a bunch of sheeple. You're all cowards, and so it's a two-way street here. I'm pounding away at I guess I'm pounding here for nothing. I don't know. I'm just sick and tired of it.
But I was reading today that in Boston, they have changed the game. So not only do you have to show proof of vaccination, you also have to have the booster. So, I mean, if you want to travel, if you want to go places, I mean, we're trying to do you a favor here. Like if you want to go to to the States on vacation right now, you can't get into the restaurants there unless you have the vaccine. This is not a Canadian thing. It's not an Ontario thing. This is the world. This is where we're at. All right, some of the comments. Yep, some of the comments. Mark Mayhew, good to hear from you, sir. Says maybe living side by side with ignorant and uninformed people is the price we pay to live in a free society. I would hope that freedom ends or at least is curbed somewhat when it infringes on the safety of others. That's why we have speed limits, drug laws, and most other rules. As for the protesting at someone's home, that's closer to terrorism than it is to a true protest.
Thank you, Mark.
David says, daughter is old enough to make her own decisions. No need to harass her father, tattletale. And Anne says, if you think about it, it's the dumbest hill to choose to die on. Oh, no, don't force me to get a vaccine that could save my life and prevent me from killing old folks in my life. Are these people going to live under a rock the rest of their lives or what? You will need to be able to prove being vaxxed to do any kind of travel. I just mentioned that. Thank you, Anne. A fake vax passport will land you in jail. Personally, that would be a risk I would not be willing to take.
On a different issue here, how seriously, folks, are you taking this new wave of infection? All right, are you canceling or changing your Christmas plans? What about your travel plans? Are you changing? I think everybody knows by now. Debbie and I have canceled our travel plans. Just can't take the risk. Particularly, I'm going to be very honest with you. One of the main concerns I have is the airport. We would have to go into an airport in Fort Lauderdale, and Florida this doesn't seem to be taking this seriously at all. And they tell me that hardly anybody, for example, in the entire airport in Florida wears a mask or cares anything about distancing or anything else. I just can't take the chance. And all it would take would be one person with this new. It's so infectious. Some person passing near to cough or sneeze or maybe even breathe, for God's sake, and bammo, there you go. So just can't take the chance. But as far as Christmas plans, Debbie and I still plan to head up to Quebec for a family Christmas dinner. So we're not changing that. How about you? Are you going ahead with Christmas plans with your family, or have you made some changes? Have you made travel changes? What's your feeling there? John, any comments still coming in now?
Got an email to all anti-vaxxers. Be thankful nurses and doctors don't have the right to not treat you, says Jill at Lowell at blasttheradio.com. Chrissy says, why is the government not suggesting us to download the COVID alert app? Did it not help the first time? I think anything at this point will help for sure. Maggie says, I'm double vaxxed, but have had serious side effects, seizures, and trachea events. Wait to see a specialist, so can't get a booster till at least Valentine's. Well, that's a different situation, though, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose it's possible that there are some problems from the vaccines, but Do you realize that there are over 60 million vaccines administered in Canada alone? And you can count the serious problems on one hand. 60 million so far, and actually every single day there's thousands more. It's quite astonishing. I can't think of anything else that you could administer 60 million times and have so few problems. John.
Craig says Christmas will look like last year for us, just my immediate family, all 6 of us. Leanne says, cannot wait to see you, Dad. I can tell you Christmas last year was a wash for us. This year we're doing it in kind of a staggered thing. So my brother and his family will be up to see Mom and Dad Christmas Day. We're going on Boxing Day, and my other brother and his family will come up from Oshawa area around New Year's. So we're spreading it out. We won't.
So
have you
made any changes because of the
Yep.
of COVID? You have, eh?
Yep, we were all supposed to get together at one day, but now we're going to spread it out. We just can't take the chance. Mom's a heart patient.
Yeah, she is, eh?
And, with my wife working retail and my sister-in-law being a teacher and my other sister-in-law also working retail, we're just exposed to way too many people.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Last year, I don't know if you remember. I mean, we essentially didn't have Christmas last year. I was just reminded we were not allowed to drive. It was so bad last year at this time that we were not allowed to drive into Quebec. We were supposed to go up to Quebec once again, but you couldn't cross the border. So it's not quite as bad this year, thank goodness. Although what I'm worried about, if this thing continues to go on the way it is, to expand the way it is, that they're going to have to do more. I don't know. We have Greg is on the phone. Go ahead, Greg, please.
Good afternoon, Lowell. I'm calling from the heart of the Ottawa Valley.
Good.
Yeah, December 31st is my birthday.
Good for you.
We had planned on celebrating at the Pembroke Legion. They have a meal and a band.
Right.
And I just got notified that it's been canceled.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot more of that. There's no question. And until we figure out whether this new variation is serious or not, I think the jury is still out. There's no question that the number of infections are way up. They're skyrocketing.
Yeah.
But if you look at the hospitalizations, you see that so far it doesn't seem to be reflected there. So I think we're going to have to wait and see just how serious this new thing is. How about Christmas? Are you Christmas you're still having a family dinner, Greg?
On the positive side, on New Year's, my Italian buddy from Ottawa,
right?
His birthday is the same day.
Right.
He's still coming up to inspect the meatballs that my wife is making for dinner. We're having spaghetti and meatballs.
He's going to do a personal inspection, right?
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Greg. Thanks for calling, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Meatball. I love meatballs, right? Shears. Shields. I'll get it right here. Once again, I just want to point out, folks, look, and in all probability, I've said this once, I'll say it again, and that is, in all probability, the price of most appliances are going to go up considerably early in the new year. Federal government says that only appliances with the Energy Star logo will be allowed to be sold, which means many of the cheaper brands, less expensive brands, will not be available. So I don't know what the dealers are going to do with the brands that they still have. Whether they will be allowed to sell them on a grandfather clause, I don't know. All I am saying to you, I'm just issuing a warning here, thanks to Shields, and that is that as of January 1st, government says only appliances can be sold in Canada with the Energy Star label, which are the more expensive brands. So, folks, if you're in the market for an appliance of any kind, give Shields a call. Check out the website. You will see I've stated this before. It's really a well-done website. You'll see everything you want. Color, style, price range, and savings. And there's some very good sales right now. Very good savings at Shields. Shields.ca. Good folks. Yes, John. More text coming in here.
Regarding Christmas, David on Facebook says, yes, smaller and more spread out, just at a medical appointment. And first question was, do you have the third vaccination? Anne says, yes, I have spent 2 years away from my family. So this year we are getting together. We are all
Good.
double vaccinated and all very responsible. We work from home and barely go out. There'll be 5 of us and so excited that we will be able to see each other. And Kim says, 8
Good.
of us, Christmas dinner, all vaccinated. I'm waiting for a booster, currently on a list.
Now, talking about the boosters, what's your experience, folks, with the booster? I understand, John, there were some huge lineups this morning in
Barhaven,
Barhaven.
before the sun was even up, the traffic was around the block and back again. And I understand there are a lot of very, very angry people that they were told, go to the Minto rink, pick these up, and there just weren't enough. And now I'm seeing people, and we talked about this yesterday. I'm starting to see people offering them for sale. People are hoarding these things.
I don't understand. I mean, we've been told, Trudeau has said it time and time again, that there are plenty of vaccines available. Well, if they're available, where the hell are they?
Yep.
That's the issue. And I mean, why say, well, everybody over the age of 18 is now eligible? I mean, knowing that this is just going to cram things up even more. I don't understand why we can't organize this better. I think that certainly in the latter stages, we did a pretty good job with the vaccines. It seemed to be pretty well organized. But now, for some reason, it seems that we've just forgotten what we did. There should be far more locations where the boosters are available. They should be available at all drugstores. I don't see. I don't understand why boosters aren't available. There should be pop-up clinics everywhere.
I've got a friend in Kingston, Lowell. She went to a drive-through booster clinic yesterday.
In Kingston.
She doesn't have to get out of her car. She doesn't even have to get out of her car. She rolled down her window. Her daughter was in the passenger side, rolled down her window. Somebody walks up, show your current vaccination status, your health card. In goes the jab. Off you go.
Well, I'm not sure.
Let's set it up at a Tim Hortons. I mean, if that's what it's going to take.
Well, it was the same thing in the United States. I mean, they in some of the major sports stadiums, for example, they had it so you could actually drive through, and there was big long lineups of people out in the middle of the playing field, at second base. I just for the life of me don't understand why we seem to be screwing it up this time. I'm really confused on this. Not only with the boosters, but apparently with the rapid tests as well. I mean, there's no reason, for example, that the rapid tests could not be available everywhere, including Tim Hortons. Why not have the rapid? I mean, there is a tiny little box. It's very easy to self-administer. I did it myself. I just don't understand. Have the Tim Hortons, Harvey's, A&W should be McDonald's everywhere. I just don't understand it. Once again, it just seems that there's nobody at the top that's really sort of got an overview of this.
We've talked about that before, right? Lack of vision,
lack of planning.
Yep.
And you know what? I only too often I see a lack of really caring about people. Very clearly, if you're going to do this, you don't care the fact that people are going to be lined up, including older people, lined up in the cold and the rain. There's a degree of callousness involved in this as well. John, more emails coming in here.
By the way, sir, we go for our booster tonight, so I will report back to you tomorrow, let you know how that goes. All right, Deborah says, I booked my booster this morning when it was announced that 50-some thousand more vaccines were available in Ottawa. My appointment is January 6th, so you're able to get one, Deborah. That's awesome. Lori says, that's how they're doing it in Renfrew County, drive-thrus. I watched a video of Justin in Montreal at a vaccination clinic. Perhaps that's where all the boosters are, says Valda. Doug asks, why are the doctors not giving them instead of phoning? Biden apparently is mailing out test kits in the state, says Kim. Leanne says, shoppers in Rexall, all 3 of us got appointments. Let me see. Scroll down here to Joshua. Put the vaccines in the Tim's coffee. At least Joshua has some vision. Here's a long-winded one from Anna. She says, there's a problem of both Trudeau and Doug Ford making. Trudeau did not get us enough vaccine, and Ontario should not have opened up the floodgates to those over 18 till the older folks were done first. That's why we're seeing the mayhem we are now, the vaccine Hunger Games. The older folks over 60 are much more vulnerable than someone who is 18 to a serious impact from COVID. Vaccinated or not, your immunity is stronger the younger you are, clearly.
Yeah, that's true to a large degree. I have to agree. However, during the past few days, the bulk of the new infections have been in younger people. In fact, in Ottawa, over half were under people under the age of 22, I think. John, have we got some more?
We do. We've got a text again to the people who say that I don't read enough texts. Here's a text at 613-413-2217. I've heard twice in the past 24 hours that there has been no confirmed deaths that can be attributed to Omicron among the 334 million citizens in the U.S. It is highly contagious, but cases tend to be much milder, says Bruce.
Well, that seems to be the evidence now. It may be a little bit too early to tell, but certainly the indications. I mean, we have 320 some odd new infections in Ottawa, and I think there's only 4 or 5 people in hospital and nobody in ICU. So the evidence seems to be growing. I hope it's true. This would be wonderful if, in fact, it's really not much more than the cold. But not only, but I think we also have to be worried about long-term effects, because in some cases, even with COVID-19, the Delta variant, we found that there were some long-term effects that we didn't know about. John, any more coming in here?
Yeah, Tim is using the emojis. He's got a skull and a picture of a needle, so I guess he's anti-vax. Thanks, Tim. Good to hear from you.
He's got say that. So what's he got again?
He's got a picture of a skull and a needle, so I guess he's claiming that needles will.
You're an idiot. You know, you're a freaking idiot. You know what? You've got the intelligence of a cabbage. Go ahead, John.
Kelly says, sorry, I've never heard that one before. Canceled her trip to Montreal to see family tomorrow, staying safe so she can see her parents on Christmas Day. The NHL has pulled out of the Olympics, says Terry, if that doesn't tell you something. Tim says, final variant, 100% real communism. Craig says, Omicron has completely displaced Delta.
See, this communism, this somehow or other, that this thing is spreading somehow, that if you get vaccinated, and you're restricting so forth in business, that this is communism. It's not communism. It's an attempt to save lives, for God's sake. Go ahead, John.
Our friend is being called an idiot. We'll just avoid all of that. Let me see. That's pretty much it, sir.
All right. Well, listen, we're gonna pack it in a little bit early here, but I just, as I say, folks, please get vaccinated, okay? Don't do this to yourself and to others. And most of all, if you're not getting vaccinated, please keep it to yourself. Don't start spreading stories about it's communism, or they're injecting some sort of microchip, or if you get vaccinated, it's because you're a coward. Come on. We want to save lives here. We want to keep businesses open. Thank you all. We'll be back.
The Lowell Green Show is seen and heard live around the world at 2 p.m. Eastern. Connect with us online at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Can't join us live? Download the Lowell Green podcast. Available on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Ask your smart speaker to play the Lowell Green podcast. This is a production of blasttheradio.com.